Hello, welcome to I Read This Book with Chris. This is Chris. Hey, we are doing another book haul. Here's the issue. Me and my wife sell books online. In order to sell books online, we have to get books. So, in the past 2 months or so, we've been to multiple book sales at libraries. We've gone to different cities. While we're there, we check out their thrift stores, we check out their bookstores. And this is all good because we need books to sell. The issue is we also end up spending some of our own money to buy books for our collection. And they're so cheap, it's really hard to say no. So I have a huge book haul. I'm not going to be able to go through the books nearly as detailed as I do normally. But I will show you the books I am adding to my collection. And because I'm adding so many books to my collection, I will also, when I am done, I need to get rid of some books. Alright, perfect. While showing you my books, I got some eggnog, homemade eggnog. It's quite good. Nothing fun in it, just boring old eggnog. Alrighty. My first stack here is, there we go, a huge stack of science fiction. This is Robert Silverberg, Invaders from Earth and Two Worlds Beyond. This one, it looks like I got at the local bookstore, and it is a Ace double. It has two books in one, but it's not one of these fun flippy ones. Let's see. The Planet of the Double Sun, really old, really cool. I think I got that at one of the book sales. Isaac Asimov, The Pebble in the Sky, Andre Norton, Android at Arms. Poul Anderson, Explorations. Two books by Gordon Dickinson, None But Man and Mission to the Universe. There we go. That's a really fun cover. Let's see. A Hole in Space by Larry Niven. Really hit or miss on whether or not I like him. He goes a little too hard sci-fi for me. Apparently this is a short story collection, so you can't get really quite as hard in short stories. Hyperion by Dan Simmons, and then The Fall of Hyperion. I really know nothing about this. I learned about Hyperion, which apparently is a classic, while looking on eBay, trying to find what books are worth a lot of money. If you find a first edition one of these, ridiculous amounts of money. So apparently, people think it's good, so I should probably read it, and I was able to get The Fall of Hyperion as well. So I got, let's see, James White, All Judgment Fled. So he's the guy who did those sci-fi doctor shows, or not shows, books that I have a collection of. I've read a few of the stories of. So I don't think this is in that series. In All Judgment Fled, he considers the critically important first contact between humans and others, and how political expediency can make this a bloodbath for mankind. Let's see. Star Surgeon. There we go. Look at that. So that's another one in that same theme of the doctors in space. This is by someone I haven't heard of. It's really old. It's a Scholastic. 1964, which seems late to have this. So here. So these are the different sizes. So this is your traditional mass market paperback dimensions. And this one's shorter. It's the same width, but just a little shorter. But I like that concept in sci-fi. So there we go. Gail Kimberly, never heard of her. Flyer. There we go. Some sort of guy flying. Humanity was shattered into three parts. The flyers ruled the mountaintops, the walkers were supreme among the land, and the swimmers built their great cities below the surface of the sea. Whisper from the Stars by Jeff Sutton. And let's see, Captive Universe by Harry Harrison. I've got two more. Ace Doubles. So The Dark Intruder and Other Stories by Marion Zimmer Bradley, and Falcons of Narabelda. And my second one are both by Leigh Brackett, People of the Talisman, and then The Secret of Sinharat. Once again, don't know much about either of these authors, but they are ace doubles, which are always fun. Here's a collection of time travel. The Cross Time Engineer by Leo Frankowski. Downtime by Cynthia Felice. The Time Patrolman by Poul Anderson. Quest Cross Time by Andre Norton. And then a second book by Andre Norton, Operation Time Search. I love my time travel. Have a whole collection over there of time travel, and these will get added to it nice and easy. Continuing on, so these ones, let's see, Fantastic Voyage by Isaac Asimov and Armageddon 2419. I already have both of these. This one is one of my favorite old sci-fi. It's just completely absurd. So, a novel by Isaac Asimov, The Fantastic Voyage, based on a screenplay by Harry Kleiner, adaptation by David Duncan, based on a story by Otto Clement and J. Louis Bixby. Story was turned into a screenplay that was adapted by someone else, which was then written into a novel by Isaac Asimov. And it's about people who take a spaceship and you shrink it down and so you can shoot it inside of someone and do stuff inside of them. And medicinal stuff. In 2419, this is the Buck Rogers book that I lost the cover of, and I replaced the cover with some other stuff. So this will be, so I actually have a book with a cover. I then have my more modern sci-fi, Shroud by Adrian Chkovsky. From the reigning king of the space opera and Hugo Award-winning author, Adrian Chkovsky, I have got the entire trilogy of The Three-Body Problem. I originally found this one at one book sale. This is the second book. And then so I got it for like $1 or $2. And then I went to another book sale, and there was books 1 and 3. It was missing book 2, so I didn't just leave someone else to go and find the second book. And I realized, since I had the second book, why not get the whole trilogy? People say this is really good. It's on the harder end of sci-fi. Do not know a whole lot about it, but it looks good enough. Let's see. And then I also have, for sci-fi, these are some bigger ones. So this one isn't actually sci-fi, it's fantasies by George MacDonald. This book was recommended to me. Well, this author, George MacDonald. I don't know if it was this one specifically, but I think I got it at one of their bag sales. So you fill a bag for like $5 or $10. Me and my wife got several books there, and it's basically nothing. Then Narabelda Ltd. by Frederick Poole. Let's see, The Man Who Used the Universe by Alan Dean Foster. His stuff is also very hit or miss. Let's see, Coils by Fred Saberhagen and Roger Zelensky. And Into Deepest Space by Fred Hoyle and Jeffrey Hoyle. So, this is all my sci-fi that I've added. I will show you how my bookshelf looks now. And this is what it looks like with the new stuff on there. So this is all just my to-be read. This is all the sci-fi I have yet to read. Alrighty, continuing on. This is, let's see, Next Step, Stock I got 5 books for Sherlock Holmes. So Sherlock Holmes is in the public domain, meaning you can use Sherlock Holmes and write stories about him. These ones are not by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I don't know how good any of these are. I've read some of them, Sherlock Holmes books by people who aren't Sherlock Holmes, and they're great, and some of them, and they aren't. So we got 2 by Frank Thomas, Sherlock Holmes and the Sacred Sword, and then Sherlock Holmes and the Golden Bird. Let's see. There's Sherlock Holmes in New York. There's a whole lot of books about Sherlock Holmes being in places. I think I have one about Montana on my shelf. It's not in the best of conditions, but the front's in good shape. The spine's in good shape. Definitely a readable copy. The Holmes Dracula File. When the impossible has been eliminated, there remains what? Only the improbable. I forget how the saying goes, but something like that. When you've removed the impossible, all that remains, however improbable, is what's happened. Yeah. So it's Sherlock Holmes meets Dracula. So this was actually in the sci-fi section, and I caught it. Fred Saberhagen. I have another book by him. And then Sherlock Holmes and the Red Dragon by Larry Millett. Alright. So, I'm not getting rid of any Sherlock Holmes, but now you should see what the Sherlock Holmes section, Sherlock Holmes collection looks like. I've got 4 new Wodehouse. Let's see. This is Wodehouse at War, The Extraordinary Truth About P.G. Wodehouse's broadcast on Nazi radio. So this is a biography of him. I don't know if I'm going to read this or if it's just going to go in my collection because I have a big collection, P.G. Wodehouse. And then I'm pretty sure I have all of these books. So there's Plum Pie. As far as I know, I don't have any books by whatever author or illustrator did this one. That's Plum Pie. Pigs Have Wings and Something New. And now you can see what these look like on my Wodehouse shelf. I've got 2 books by Kurt Vonnegut. Mother Night. I don't think I have this one. There you go, Mother Night. And then Dead-Eye Dick. And this one is a first edition, second printing, 1982. Not worth anything, but is pretty cool. I got that from my Vonnegut collection, which you can see. Dave Barry's Bad Habits. My dad really loved Dave Barry and would read to us Dave Barry when I was a kid. I have not read Dave Barry. I don't think I've ever read Dave Barry, but my dad read Dave Barry to me. So this was one in a collection that we got, and the person was, it's not worth anything. And so instead of throwing it away, I put it on my shelf. Hopefully I'll get to read that at some point. And then this is a history book, The Day the World Exploded, Krakatoa by Simon Winchester. So this is pretty fun. I kind of know the story a little bit. So Krakatoa, a volcano erupted, and the next day it appeared in the newspaper in England. I believe it's somewhere in the Philippines, somewhere in the Pacific. I think the area is known as the Pacific Islands now. Somewhere over there, a volcano erupted. And this is the first time in history where they were able to, through telegram lines, send the information that a volcano erupted. And the guy was a businessman, and he went to go send the information to his business partners. But since it's a telegram, a lot of people were able to look at it, and people passed the information along, even though maybe they shouldn't have. But ended up in the newspaper the next day, which is crazy to think about. How now something happens, and 10 minutes later you can learn about it. Like someone important dies, or there's a riot, or whatever, and that happens instantly. Well, there was a time where information would take weeks or months to travel, sometimes longer than that. So that's cool. Alrighty. I then have a collection of DVDs that I was able to get at these sales. Chuck, the complete first season. Indiana Jones, the Adventure Collection. It's got The Last Crusade, The Temple of Doom, and Raiders of the Lost Ark. So that's all three of those in one little nice box set. This is Get Smart, the Steve Carell. This is the movie. Get Smart, hilarious. The first season of Scrubs, always a good time. And then Flight of the Conchords, season 1 and 2. I like their music. I've seen some of their music videos. I know some of them are from their TV show. Don't know a whole lot about it, but bag sales are great because you can just go and like all these DVDs I got at a bag sale, which means it's like less than $1 for that whole thing, which you go, and if you don't like it, it's fine. You just donate it. Someone else has a chance to read it. I then have 3 books, Christian books. Spurgeon, Heir of the Puritans. It's a biography of C.H. Spurgeon, Charles Haddon Spurgeon. Theologian and preacher and stuff like that. Let's see. Surprised by Hope by N.T. Wright. I believe, not that this matters. Yeah, this is a first edition. Not that it matters at all. But that's a fun one. N.T. Wright, everyone's heard of, probably, who reads any Christian books. And then The Divine Conspiracy by Dallas Willard. Currently in another book of Dallas Willard's about the parables. So there we go. So if you want to see, yeah, bam. Those are all my Christian bookshelves. A lot of stuff in there that aren't aspirational that I should read, but I haven't. Next thing that I have is a bunch of cookbooks. My cookbook shelf is a mess. It might take the most amount of time to clean. So this is the America's Test Kitchen Family Cookbook. This one's a binder, which I guess people like because it can lay out flat, nice and easy. I have a whole collection of America Test Kitchen stuff. Let's see. So these also are by America's Test Kitchen. The sous vide book. I have a sous vide guide that I've used like twice. I need to, more recipes would be good. Mediterranean Instant Pot. Very specific. Authorized by Instant Pot. By America's Test Kitchen. And then Grilling and Barbecue, Practical Guide for the Outdoor Cook. A lot of my cookbooks, I just use basically as a reference. There's way too many of them, and whenever I'm thinking about something, I'll go and I'll pull out like 3 or 4 or 5 of them, and I'll have some fun. Let's see. My Bread by Jim Leahy. The Revolutionary No Work, No Need Method. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about it, but it looks fun. If I can make bread without kneading, that'd be great. I don't know that I'll ever do it, but it's... There we go. Let's see. The Kitchen Pantry Cookbook. Recipes for making different types of mustard, and like almond butter, and cute relish, and stock, and all sorts of stuff. I like making my own crazy things. So, got that. Let's see. Another cocktail book, The One Bottle Cocktail. So these are all recipes that only use one alcohol. You don't need, mix like Manhattan. And so I like, I have a collection of cocktail books. That one looks. And then The Frugal Vegan. I have in-laws that are vegan. And sometimes I don't want to spend all of the money. And if you are vegan, you can very easily not spend as much money. If you're doing stuff from scratch, that is. So, lots of fun. So this is all of my new books that I have to go and work myself through my stuff in order to, make room for. Thanks for watching.